Welcome everyone to the Everything Show. I am your host, Matrix Lord 212. This is unexpected this morning. It is June 5th, 2025. It is 8:31 in the morning for me. I wasn't expecting to do a podcast this early, but it is warranted based on the subject at hand. So let me go up and say that it's been a little while since I've done the Everything Show. This is the 2286th episode, podcast, live stream, whatever you want to call it. Basically, podcast. On this on this podcast, I talk about a variety of things. I talk about movies. I talk about comics, video games. I talk about different TV shows or different whatever I feel like talking about, except Doctor Who, because Doctor Who has its own podcast. Reason why I'm doing this video is I wanted to touch base with you guys because recently, Sam DeMayer, who has appeared on and off over the years on the Rehovians cast, had basically took one of my videos and basically talked to another YouTuber on his live stream about me, but trying to convey what I said, but not necessarily in the right way, taking things out of context. So years ago on the Everything Show, there was only Netflix. And when we would do the Everything shows, we are like, oh, okay, Amazon's doing their own streaming service. And oh, Disney's gonna have Disney Plus. And there was all these streaming services that were being born. Okay. And me and my group, the Real Hoovians on the Everything Show, basically were talking, and I said, there's gonna be too many streaming services. Okay. Um, you're going to give too many choices to too many people, and it's eventually going to crash and burn where there's going to be too much, and they're going to cancel each other out. Okay. I said that Disney Plus, while it's a great idea, if they do it correctly, if they don't do it correctly, they're going to wind up crashing and burning. And again, Netflix knows what they're doing. Okay. So everybody took a shot trying to dethrone Netflix. And I want to bring context to when I was a child growing up with television, TV. When I was a kid, I was born in 1974. Okay. And just like my name, Matrix Lord 212, I was born on 212, February 12th. Okay. February 12th, 1974. Around that time period, and when I started like one, two, three, started remembering my earliest memories, we had a black and white television set. Okay. And we had to get up and turn the TV on and get up and turn the TV off. We had to turn the dials to turn to what channel we wanted. We did not have a remote control. There was no remote control. Okay. Afterwards, yes, there was a color TV and there was a remote control, but it was always you had to get up off your butt, put the TV on, and when you wanted to go to sleep, you had to get out of bed and turn the TV off. Okay. And it used to be that the TVs were not in every room of the house. They were only in the living room and the bedroom. Okay. They weren't in the spare rooms. They weren't. And again, it wasn't where people had TVs in every room of the house. People didn't have money like that. And even if they did, they still didn't have TVs in every room in the house. So it was a different time period where we had Channel 2, CBS, Channel 4, NBC, Channel 5, which became different things over the years, but eventually it was Fox 5. Channel 7, ABC, Channel 9, which was many different things, but then it was UPN, then it was Paramount, then it was all these different things. Channel 11 was like just Channel 11, but then it became like CW, whatever it is. But anyway, we had a secondary dial. The secondary dial, they had all these weird channels like 21. We never had like a thing like we do today where there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of channels. Okay, there was a limited choice in channels, and the UHF was like a foreign thing to me because it was like stuff that I never used when I was a kid. So it was like channel. It was like the dial was like way more, almost up to like 100 or whatever it is, right? So we did not have good reception. We used to have a thing called an antenna where we would have to move the antenna to get a clear picture. Okay. And if there was a storm, we wouldn't get a clear picture. The picture was hazy. This is why, like, when they come out with these video games lately, they try to recapture what video games looked like back in the 70s, 80s, where the screen's hazy, the screen's wavily. Yeah, that's what our screens look like because we never got a good reception half the times. We used to have to get creative. We used to have to put tin foil and literally make weird things on the antenna with the tin foil and then turn them. And the joke was, yeah, you would stand like on your foot and hold it up. Did I get a clear view? Okay. And sometimes an event happened and you wanted a picture so clear that you would just stand there holding the damn antenna. Hysterical. But anyway, when I was a kid, and I was in kindergarten, I remember I was at I think it was my grandmother's house, which I called my nanny and my papi, right, from my father's side. And I started experimenting. I'm like, what's this knob do? What's this do? And I turned the channel to, I believe it was channel 58, New Jersey Network. I think it was, I used to sleep over my grandparents' house on the weekend, on Saturdays, when I was really, really little. And I remember seeing this man with a scarf saying stuff I had no idea what he was talking about. I did not understand him, but what drew me in was he was in like summer weather, hot, and he's wearing a scarf, not even phasing him, not even caring, talking intellectually. There was mummies, there was this. He had this beautiful woman with him, Sarah Jane Smith, and like that was his assistant, his companion. And I remember watching this, and I was absolutely fascinated. Right? It was Doctor Who, and again, I'm not going to really talk about Doctor and Everything Show, but I just had to briefly touch base on the TV aspect of it. So that started my journey with Doctor Who, but that was a thing called UHF, right, on the bottom of the TV. So over the years, as the years went on a little bit, they had a thing called, they had a box, okay, and it was like an add-on to the TV set, and there was two companies. First one, WHT, okay. So there was this box called WHT. It was a box and it was like all different programming, right? And there was also a box called HBO. You had to buy the box. It was a box, okay? Freaking box, like this big, whatever you put on top of your TV, and you hit the button. Now you're not on your regular channels. You're on HBO or UHF. I'm not UHF. WHT. WHT. I used to watch the Islanders hockey games and sports, and I used to watch Uncle Floyd. I think it was on WHT, and then it was also on UHF, on the bottom of TV. So we had that. We had the box, which was the WHT and UHF, right? And don't ask me to tell you what years it was. I'm going ahead. I don't know exact years. I'm not going to look it up, but there was a talk of people like in California and stuff having this thing called satellite. Okay, where they would put this big satellite dish on top of their house, and they would get all these crazy channels. And they had that before we had that in New York and stuff. And then they had a thing called cable. Yeah, we got that. That was like a whole different world. There was a whole bunch of channels. I remember watching Double Dare game show and different things, Nickelodeon, and that's when all these things came into being, all these channels. So your TV perception expanded. Okay, you had a whole wide variety of stuff with cable and satellite. Let's flash forward to past maybe what 7-10 years or whatever it is, or 5 years, when we just had, now Netflix used to be a thing where you used to mail away for a DVD and watch the movie, and then it became, a thing where you would also watch the movie on their thing, and then it became like considered a streaming service, whatever. And Netflix was, from what I understand, the first one, right? And we all had Netflix, right? So there was other companies that wanted to capitalize on what Netflix was. Of course, that always happens. Like if you have somebody that's doing something, somebody else wants to do it better, and they want to create their own thing. So we had Amazon Prime, and then we had other stuff like Disney's going to be having a streaming service, Disney Plus. And I remember as this was happening, and I used to do the Everything Show all the time with my group of the Rehoboams on the Everything Show. And I said, with Scott and everybody in my panel, that there's gonna be a crash and burn. There's way too many streaming services. Used to be that everything was on cable and you would have a channel. And you want to watch Walking Dead? Okay. Walking Dead was on AMC on a cable channel, right? And then if you wanted to watch something else, there was a horror channel on cable. So now, besides cable, now they want to do another classification where it's like a separate thing from cable, where all these cable channels would become streaming services. So you would get HBO would become HBO Max, and then it was Max, and then back to HBO Max. And you would get AMC wanted a streaming service. And this is I knew that this was wrong, and I said, now you're gonna, people that were getting stuff like watching AMC Walking the Dead, now they're gonna ask you to pay for them directly. Okay. And this is gonna be a problem. And I knew it was a problem when they did it with Star Trek with Paramount. And I'm like, see, that's messed up. That's a mistake. Discovery being on the streaming service and not on TV, that's a mistake. Okay. And again, you have to understand the way the world is. Not everyone has streaming services. People are old school. There's a lot of people in this world, a lot of people in America that never adapted to streaming services. Some of them are used to just the TV and then cable and whatever, but they never evolved to that point, right? So to them, it doesn't even exist. So to them, there was no Star Trek after Star Trek Voyager, basically. I'm saying next time a Trekkie. Fluid Turtle, Ubaga. So that's the way the state of the world is people, a lot of people, millions of people that don't have streaming services. There are millions of people that don't even have cable or satellite and just old school. And then, of course, there are some that do, right? So, like, it's not a foreign concept where you could be talking to someone that's right now maybe in their 60s or 70s, and they have no idea what the hell you're talking about streaming service and lingo and all that other stuff. They don't adapt. Just like people that have never used a computer to use a computer, right? Just like, let's say Sharon's family, if they never used, you know, uh, uh, they never had an iPhone. Like just like someone never had an iPhone, and all of a sudden now it's just not just a phone. Now it's a stereo. Now it's music. Now it's everything, right? So it was very hard for someone to adapt or get people into new technology, you know, especially older people to get them involved and start swiping and stuff with their iPhone, like with a phone. They're just used to a flip phone or whatever. So technology has done leaps and bounds. And I said on the Everything Show that if you're going to make it now where we got it free or part of the package of cable, and now we got to pay individually to see Walking Dead or individually to see Star Trek, because that had, so in other words, AMC would have Walking Dead, Paramount would have Star Trek, right? Then it got to be ridiculous where stuff that I grew up with, let's just say Critters movie, right? Which was like a little horror movie that had sequels, right? People would do gimmicks to get you to get their streaming service where they would get the exclusive rights to a movie and make a new movie on there. And I think one of the companies, they had a new Critters movie. And I'm like, oh man, if I want to see the next Critters movie, which was it, 5 or 6 or whatever it was, I got to get this streaming service. I don't want to do that. So I didn't do that. But they were doing gimmicks where they were like, oh, get up, Paramount, we have Star Trek Discovery. Oh my God, there's a new Star Trek show. And when I watched it, crap. But anyway, imagine that whole streaming service, one show, right? And then they put stuff on there that you could watch on TV. So there wasn't anything that was worth getting that particular streaming service, right? Netflix is different. Netflix is a different animal. Netflix spends billions of dollars on programming. Netflix knows how to keep their audience. Netflix knows that they're constantly going to bombard you with movies and shows, and they're going to keep you. Okay? But these other people are going to do things half-assed. They think their one show, like say Star Trek Discovery, was going to hold over the whole entire streaming service. And then, of course, they realize, no, it's not. Let's create another show. Another Star Trek show. Star Trek Picard. Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Lower Decks. Different, right? But then they just put that. But what else do you put out? You put out like all the other shows to your movies? No. You just like Star Trek, and then there's like a few different things that you can find on TV. So it really isn't worth it to get that, in my opinion. Let's stick with opinion, because again, I say that because I made a video about my opinion, not me getting a source, and people go and they start telling other YouTubers, Matrix Lord 212 said this as if that's real and not an opinion. I'm not quoting a source. I was saying an opinion. So I'm saying right now my opinion, okay? So don't get it wrong. Please don't start trouble, because this is what happens. Everybody has egos in YouTube community, Whovian community, Doctor Who community, all communities. You start mentioning me, and I said this, but you get it wrong. People are not going to watch my videos to see what I said. They're going to be like, really? That son of a bitch. That fucking Matrix Lord. Fuck that guy. And again, I don't need that. Okay? I don't want to have wars with anybody. Okay? People are going to attack me. Of course, I'm going to engage. But again, please don't start trouble where there's no trouble. And Sam DeMayer, I'm sorry, bro. You do that sometimes. Little shit disturber. You cause a little shit. Try to start stuff between me and Dr. Freedom. Again, stop. So anyway, my opinion is that too many streaming services. Okay. And especially with the economy of where I live. Okay. We had ups and downs, inflation, crazy stuff, right? When things are tough, right? We don't have the money for 20 streaming services, okay? Plus cable, okay? So in my situation, had, you know, there's things that people would offer. And I'm like, The Boys is on Amazon Prime. I want to watch The Boys. Okay, we're gonna get rid of this streaming service this month, and I'm gonna get this streaming service this month. Or what do I get with my phone service? Do I get a streaming service? Okay. So basically, we would ordinarily pay for, let's say, 2 streaming services, period, right? And then if we saw something on that we really, really had to watch, that we would dump one of the streaming services, right, to get that other one. All right. And I would always get Amazon Prime to watch The Boys, and then when it was over, I would dump Amazon Prime. Okay. Netflix was the one we held on to for a while, but then because different things originally, uh, when I had Disney Plus, but back when I had Disney Plus, where I got Disney Plus, then I got rid of Disney Plus, then I got Disney Plus, then I got rid of Disney Plus. Everybody does it, okay? Because the economy isn't that great, so you can only in your household afford like 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. And with Disney Plus, I found, of course, WandaVision. I have Disney Plus. Oh, Loki, have Disney Plus. And they were doing okay. They started coming out with series after each other, but then they start to lose track where now everything's getting a series that doesn't need to have a series. Garbage. Garbage. Now, I have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of comics, and I've collected everything from She-Hulk to Ms. Marvel to everything of Marvel. And I can tell you that as much as I collected the comic book, in my brain, I'm like, I don't care what Kevin Feige says. I don't need to watch the She-Hulk to watch a movie. I don't need to watch Ms. Marvel to watch a movie. And used to be religiously, I would see every single movie of Marvel, period. But the moment they started putting out shit like Eternals, I'm like, I don't need to see every single movie because they don't connect like they used to before, leading to the Infinity War. They're all in their own fucking thing, and I really don't like this character, so I don't want to watch as a TV show. I don't want to watch She-Hulk. I don't even know who the fuck Echo was. I briefly heard of her in the comics. She definitely didn't deserve a TV show. I don't watch that. I may have collected the Daredevil comic, but I had it on Netflix, and I wasn't on board with it when it originally started, but then I got into it afterwards. A little bit late, mind you. Not really late, like, maybe a week or 2 later, whatever. But still, so it got to be a thing where, no, I don't need to see every MCU movie for homework connected with Disney Plus. So that's the thing, is like the content on Disney Plus is garbage. Garbage. They're not, as much as they're trying to be a multi-billion-dollar industry, they don't know how to do a streaming service. I'm sorry. Okay. The only way you can do a streaming service is you throw money into it. And the money they're throwing into it, they're not throwing it into good products that's holding our interest. Okay? You're putting out shit that you think you know what we like, and it's woke garbage. It's shit we don't like. And half, maybe even 75% of the Star Wars stuff on Disney Plus is dog shit. Okay? And if it wasn't dog shit, if it gets seasons, it becomes dog shit. Like Mandalorian, I remember seeing season 1. I fucking loved it. I was like, this is great. But then I tried to start watching, and then all of a sudden, started going down. Didn't get crazy fucking cameo. When you get Jack Black in a fucking Star Wars show, and I love you, Jack Black, but that's fucking ridiculous. Now it's gimmicks. Now it's, come on, Christopher Lloyd's in a Star Wars show too? Come on, man. Ridiculous. But anyway, so Disney Plus, I would have it before originally, and then dump it. Now we just have it for the family. We have it. Period. That's the one that remains now all the time, where we don't get rid of that. So that's the one that just stays. Everything else goes. Everything. Everything else goes. Could be Netflix. Could be. And again, we swap. We swap. So we have to pay for another one. You know, we swap. State of the world, the economy, everything else, they raise the price of everything. They raise the price of Disney Plus, they raise the price of Netflix, they raise the price of Amazon Prime. So we had a situation. I'm doing everything show, and I'm like, oh, FX has a streaming service? That's going to be fucking done. Done. And oh, this one has a streaming service? That's going to be done. That's going to be done. And then you start to see them start to merge almost, like where streaming services are coming together because they're fucking failing miserably. We had Hulu as a separate thing, and then all of a sudden Hulu is now joined at the hip with Disney Plus. Right? Now all of a sudden, HBO Max, they're doing some weird shit with Disney Plus, and then boom, they have a bundle. Like cable used to have a bundle with movie channels to get everybody to get HBO Max and Disney Plus, but separately, but together, but not the same company. This is sort of an example of why in the comic books, you see Legendary has the rights to Godzilla movies, and it's Toho in Japan, right? And Godzilla fought the Justice League and Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman in DC Comics. And now all of a sudden Godzilla's fighting Spider-Man and the Avengers, right? Why is this happening? Well, because companies are not doing well, and they feel that if they do stuff together, they can make some money and more money. So you start to see Disney's like, oh, we own now all the Fox properties, the IPs or whatever you want to call it. So we're going to have Spider-Man fight the Predator, and Wolverine fight the Predator, and X-Men fight the aliens, because if you remember in the comics, they weren't allowed to use the aliens, so they created their own alien called the Brood, which was basically Alien, the Xenomorphs, but they called it the Brood. So now you have the opportunity where you actually get to have the X-Men fight what they're supposed to fight, the alien Xenomorph in the fucking X-Men comic, which that's why they created the Brood. And now, because they, in my opinion, screwed up the comics so bad on both fronts, now they have to come together. And you see Marvel vs. DC for 2025, like you used to see it back in the day. And that will bring money into both companies. So getting back to the streaming services, you know, we had our panel on the Everything Show, and I'm like, oh, FX, you got to pay for that? What? Paramount, you got to pay for that? What? No. And again, the economy starts going in the toilet. And if you had 5 streaming services, then you have 4, then you have 3, then you have 2. And I said on the Everything Show years ago, I said, they're all going to crash and burn, and it's going to go down to 2 or 3 of the best that's going to survive, and they're all going to go away. I said that. I always said it. Go back and watch the Everything Show. So let's talk about why I'm doing this podcast. Oh, and also, too, because of the pandemic, people were getting the streaming services now instead of going to the movies. But now you have the streaming service, you have the movies, right? It used to be, I said the movies would be like here, streaming services would be here. Then during the pandemic, swapped, and the streaming services were where you were watching movies, and people weren't going to the movies. Now, after that's done, and there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened during the pandemic, There's a lot of good things and a lot of bad things. Good things were is that people that were getting divorced, when they were forced to be in lockdown with each other, all of a sudden mended fences, like say with Ben Stiller, with his marriage, they're back together, right? But in some cases, it created divorce because people realized they couldn't fucking stand each other, spending too much time as a family, and that broke up marriages. So the pandemic did a lot of crazy things. It thrusted me, it kind of like pushed me more towards gaming than doing podcasts in a weird way and doing reviews of food and everything, where I used to do Doctor Who and everything. So I now is doing all that crap. So the pandemic created some weird phenomenon for people changing everything about their life. So now we're in a situation where people, that's over. Pandemic's over. Lockdown's over. It's been over. But now people are starting to be like, I don't want to stay home. I want to go out. I want to go back to the movies. I don't want to watch TV on my home. I don't want to watch. I want to go to the movies like they used to. So now we're getting shifted back towards the movie theater. Okay. And people are like, I don't know if I want a streaming service anymore. So like now it's like, they're getting, their brain is waves. Everything's getting twisted now again. Now, will it occur where everybody goes to the movies again like they used to be? I don't think ever it will be like that. Maybe better than it used to be. I don't think it's going to be completely. But also, people are kind of like not wanting to have tons of streaming services. So now, does everything go back on cable? Well, cable is getting to be ridiculous with prices. So they got greedy, and that's what created this whole thing with streaming services, where they're making their own money on that. Will I think there'll be something else that will come from this? Yes. I think there'll be something like cable where they're all together. You watch it, which I would have think that would be better, right? But for Disney, I stated my opinion. They are firing people left and right. They are losing billions, not because just really the streaming service, but in general, bad business decisions, right? But with their decisions on what's going on their streaming service, to me, they're not doing the right thing. In my opinion, not don't say Major Floyd said that. My opinion, they're doing bad business decisions. They're making shit on their streaming service on Disney Plus. We don't want to fucking watch. And we start unsubscribing. And they're like, oh my God. Oh my God, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? We got to keep the subscribers. What do we do? Now, what you do is you get stuff that's worthy of being a TV show on Disney Plus, but they're going at it half-ass. As much as they spend a lot of money on certain shows, they're not spending what they need to spend to maintain a streaming service. A streaming service cannot survive by old programming. Part of what hooks people is not old programming that they have their DVD and their Blu-ray sitting collecting dust that they can watch any time. Oh, thank you. You put it on a convenience where I can click the button, it's on, and I can watch it without getting up and putting the DVD or Blu-ray in my machine. Thank you. But no, they want something new, something fresh. You started to see Disney Plus put the fucking news on Disney Plus that you would watch on a regular TV show. They had ABC News on there. I'm like, oh shit, you know. So they started doing that to try to hook you. That wasn't enough. So, okay, let's talk about Disney Plus. What do we got to look forward to? Trying to think, is there some revolutionary show that's going to come out that I can't fucking wait for on Disney Plus coming out? Let me think. I'm not talking about stuff that's out now, like Andor. What massive fucking thing do we have knowledge of that's coming out right now? Think about it. Could you think? Is there a Marvel show that you can? Oh my god, I can't wait to see that shit. Ironheart, Wakanda, TV show? No. It's so when you think Disney Plus, you'll be like, oh, X-Men '97. Okay, X-Men '97. When is the next season? Does anybody fucking know? Nope. When is Vision Quest? Not this year. That doesn't help me. When is the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man season 2? No fucking idea. Not this year. So there you go. Is there another Agatha season 2? Nope. Okay. Daredevil? Not this year. Not another one. So what's coming out on Disney Plus that will hook? Captain America? Okay, that was in the theater. Big deal. It's on the streaming service now. All right. What are you coming out with that everyone knows that's so fucking popular that it's going to be groundbreaking and it's like, I got to get Disney Plus? Could you name anything that's coming out this year that you can't fucking wait for on Disney Plus? Anybody? Bad Wolf, Fezman, Polluted Turtle, anybody watching the stream, anybody. Could you tell me the next big thing on Disney Plus for Star Wars or for Marvel or in general? There's an Iron Man TV show? You mean Ironheart? That you're gonna spend money for? No. That's not Iron Man. That's someone in an Iron Man armor, but it's not Iron Man. Some kid. Am I interested in that? Nope. Never interested in the comic. Nothing. See, that's my point. That's my point. Now, when Amazon can be like, oh, new season for the boys, the final season. Oh my God, I got to get that, right? Okay, great. Is there anything with Paramount? Is Paramount even still around? Like, what do we have? Is there a new Star Trek show? Oh, the new Strange New Worlds, maybe? Is there a new Picard? No. I mean, is there anything? Walking Dead, is it big enough? Is Rick back again? He came back, right? But no new series with Rick and Michonne? I don't give a shit then. Do I need to see Negan and Maggie? No, because that makes absolutely no fucking sense because he killed her fucking husband, and that would make no sense that there would ever be teams ever in general, period. So no, I have no interest. Do I want to see Daryl Dixon TV show? No, because I want everybody together in The Walking Dead together. I don't want them separated because The Walking Dead separating is like basically cable split into streaming services. So now everybody wants to see The Walking Dead for everybody together, and they're not together. So maybe the ratings could be okay, but they're not great like they should be. If Daryl Dixon and Carol and Rick and Negan and Maggie and everybody's together, that would be perfect. But now, oh, let's make money. Let's go here. Oh, let's go here. Here's Rick. Here's Michonne. Here's Negan. Here's Maggie. And I'm just trying to bring that up. My point. Fallout. Okay, where is Fallout? What streaming service has Fallout? What streaming service has Fallout? Is it Amazon? Because I'm not aware. And by the way, okay, Prime. Amazon Prime Fallout. Okay. By the way, they filmed Fallout down my block. Just want to let you know. Okay. And if you watched my YouTube channel regularly, you would see that my old supermarket, ShopRite, is where they filmed Fallout. That whole thing, that whole facility. They put the dirt there. They put the old school cars there, like an apocalyptic world like Fallout. Down my block. The next block. One block over. Down the block. That's where they filmed Fallout. Just so you know. I was working. heavily. And this sort of brings about how my being Matrix Lord of all friggin' entertainment and everything, things changed where I had to work on the weekends and I couldn't go to the movies every weekend like I used to. And that changed that. So, as far as streaming services goes, the reason for this podcast was I was talking about how in the past I said that these streaming services are going to collapse. My opinion. And I just recently did a video, I think it was yesterday, on how, in my opinion, that they really want an exit strategy with Disney Plus because they're hemorrhaging. They're losing way too much money. They don't know what to do. They don't know the cause. They don't know the cause. They don't know how to fix it. So the way they fix it is we're not going to give $500 million to this Star Wars show, and we're not going to give $600 million to these two Marvel shows. So what do? Now do you get rid of Disney Plus? Do you put them on your properties on Netflix or whatever? That's the thing. Do you merge? So, and again, what I said, in my opinion, they cut the amount of programming on Disney Plus. So if you were losing subscribers before, now you have less, and now you're going to lose more because you don't know what you're doing. You either have a streaming service or you don't. You either put content out or you don't. And if you're not going to put content that we want, again, you have to treat the business as you can't have people working for your company that are all radical thinking ideas. They have to understand that it's a job and they're building someone else's company for the betterment of Disney, not the betterment of them. If you're going to get a director, if you're going to get a writer, you have to tell the writer, hey, you are writing for Spider-Man. Please don't try to change it according to your philosophy. Spider-Man has a basic thing of what he's supposed to do, what he's supposed to say, who he's supposed to fight, how he's supposed to act. You cannot go in crazy directions where you're going to make it foreign to the audience. So if you're going to do another universe about Spider-Man, it has to be, Spider-Man, right? So you could do different takes on it, and that's the problem is people have their woke bullshit and they put that into Disney. And it's like, oh, white people are evil. We need to have diversity hires. No, you don't. Because that's kind of against Department of Labor that you're not hiring people based on race. So you're actually creating racism. And you're actually breaking laws. And Disney has broken laws. That's why they're in so much trouble, especially with the president and everything else, because they did break laws. They refused to hire certain races to push other races. That's a whole other podcast. But so my opinion, and again, like I said, you're going to put content on Disney Plus. You're going to have to create stuff all year round that's going to keep people subscribed to your streaming service. And again, Paramount, okay, yeah, the home of Star Trek, okay, but is there anything else that you're putting on there that people could fucking name off the top of their head? No, because you're just going to Star Trek, and that's it. You're not doing any of your other properties, really, that people know what the fuck you're doing. So, Amazon Prime, we know The Boys. Do we know anything else? All right, Fallout. Okay, but two things. But look at Netflix. Netflix got so much. So much. You got Stranger Things. That's their flagship, right? But then you got other shows like, Millie Bobby Brown does the what's the name of her show where she's Sherlock Holmes' sister or some shit. She's got that as a franchise. She's making series of that, right? So, and then they got horror stuff on Netflix. They got a whole bunch of different. There's sci-fi. There's everything. There's everything on Netflix. Netflix is still key. Netflix is still, yeah, Enola Holmes. Thank you. So Netflix is still, they had Masters. They even tried, Kevin Smith, the Masters of the Universe, whatever He-Man shit. But then they went to problems too, when they got woke too, and the people weren't liking what they were seeing. So, that's the thing. Disney Plus, I said, I don't think they're going to be around in a couple of years. That's an opinion. I predicted maybe next year, by next year's end, you'll start to see it. It will start to end. But again, there's a lot of things. And again, like I said, I really don't like to talk about Doctor Who on the Everything Show because there's a place for that, and that's Rehovians. But I will mention it sometimes if it's relevant, and especially with Disney Plus. Doctor Who's over. People are going to unsubscribe until the war between the land and the sea starts. But they don't have the back catalog yet, right? Even though they're trying to get it. So, again, that's what I said. And again, Sam DeMayer, if you're watching, and again, no offense, bro, but you you don't mean to, but you try to start wars with me, with people, and I don't understand that. I just wish, if you're going to mention something I said, do it in the correct context. Like, you going to Dr. Freedom's stream is fine, but you saying Matrix Lord said this is going to happen. No. About Disney Plus. No. Matrix Lord didn't say this is going to happen. Matrix Lord 212 said his opinion. It's a whole different ball game if I'm coming on here and saying, this is Matrix Lord 212, and I just heard this from my source. If I'm stating an opinion, it's an opinion. When I said that Doctor Who Season 3 was happening with Ncuti Gatwa, that was a source. Okay? And again, that fell apart because, again, he's all gung-ho to do it, and then all of a sudden, Disney Plus probably fucked that up, and he left. He was going to film. He was happy to film. My source said the same fucking thing. That's what was going to happen. That was the source. Now, if you would ask me what my opinion is of Doctor Who, my opinion is that it's going to continue. Now, if you're going to ask what my source is, my source says that Russell is having meetings trying to find a way to get a Christmas special out. Somehow. But anyway, no opinion from source. So if you're going to say, I would rather you share the video than try to assume what I'm saying, Sam DeMayer. Because then, of course, this is what happens. Everybody has egos in the Hulu community, in the regular YouTube community. So now you got Dr. Freedom to mention me without mentioning me, like basically answering you, Sam DeMayer, about me. But then maybe he's going to give a little bit of an opinion. And then he's like, I'm not, and again, he says, I'm not looking to start anything, which is understandable. And again, he's not. He didn't say Matrix Lord 2 flat out, but that's the only person Sam DeMayer is talking about. But then he's going to say something, and then may get offended, or may not. And that's going to piss me off, or it's not going to piss me off. So again, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't. If shit's boring in the Whovian community, don't start shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have enough problems that I have to deal with where, let's just say, Noel attacks me. Okay? And that goes on since August. And then people that are connected with him to have a go with me. Okay. And then I'm mad at someone because I feel that they're bullying. And then I'll say my opinion on that. There's enough shit going on. Right? If there's nothing going on between Dr. Freedom and myself, don't try to do something. Don't try to, not that you meant to do, but maybe you did. Maybe shit's boring. And maybe you're like, I want to fucking see them fight. Don't do that. Don't start shit with other people because you're bored. Okay? Like I said, he is off doing his thing. I'm off doing my thing. hardly ever mention each other. Okay? We're not battling. We have differences of opinion. We have from. I don't want to hear from him what he thinks of me. He don't want to hear from me what I think of him. I don't want to hear from him according to his knowledge what he feels about me. I don't. He don't want to hear what I feel about him. Peaceful coexistence. Okay, understand that. We're not friends. We're not enemies. Maybe we were friends in the past. Maybe we were enemies in the past. Now, he's there, I'm here. There's nothingness. It's just, okay, do your thing. And that's it. So don't, Sam the Mayor, stir up shit. And again, you can go wherever you want. You can say whatever you want. But if you're going to try to quote me correctly. Matrix Lord 212 gave an opinion on this. Matrix Lord 212, in his opinion, feels Disney Plus is going to end. Not Matrix Lord 212 said Disney Plus is going to end. There's a huge, huge difference between opinion and what I say from my source. Did my source say Disney Plus is ending? No, it did not. It did not. Okay. So there you go. But again, back to streaming, back to TV, past, present, and future. I feel that we're going to have something like cable where everything's together again. Where things are not going to be separated in a million different parts. Same thing like Walking Dead TV show. Eventually, ratings are going to be so fucking bad, shit's going to fall apart so fucking bad. That's when they'll put Rick and everybody back together. And no, they won't call it. They'll call it flat out Walking Dead season. No fucking titles, no whatever. This is the new season of Walking Dead. And maybe it will carry on for a year or two. Okay? But again, that's that. All right? They're better together than they're apart in The Walking Dead. That's my take on that. There you go. And AMC should do other shit besides Walking Dead. Like really, if they really want to be a streaming service or they really want a big name to get big name fucking series and do shit. Like, in my opinion. Anyway, that's my take on the Everything Show. Which I've done without anybody in here. Which is rare because I don't usually do an Everything Show without my panel. But things change sometimes. And I was just feeling like talking on my own podcast about streaming services. Now, before I end the Everything Show, I'm going to let you know about what's going on today. Today, I consider it a gaming day. Will it be a gaming day? Well, it's supposed to be a gaming day. Is it going to become evolved into something other than gaming? I hope not, because again, I want today to be a gaming day. Do I want to talk about Doctor Who today? Not really. I want it to be a gaming day. Will there be some news today that I have to talk about Doctor Who? Maybe. Okay. So, do I want to talk about any of the movies or any of the trailers? No. But, speaking on the subject of gaming, I have created the name for the third main podcast on gaming. And I have been in touch with certain gamers to try to schedule a time. So right now I'm in the process of getting everybody's schedules together and seeing who's going to appear on the first podcast to do with gaming. I'm not going to tell you the title yet because I don't want anybody to steal it. Also, in case you're not aware, the Everything Show has been around for a long damn time. 2013, maybe before that, not sure. I don't remember exactly. But we're going to be nearing the anniversary of the Everything Show. And I'm fully aware that You know, there are times where maybe I didn't do an everything show in a month or two, and now people are trying to create stuff called the Everything Show when it's not the Everything Show. This is the Everything Show. So I've seen that started. Now, someone tried to do that years ago, and they watched our show and then tried to do their own thing, and that lasted 1 or 2 episodes, and then they were done. I think someone even in Staten Island, they tried to capitalize off of the popularity of my show. Not crazy about that, but we also have now someone new. A couple videos they're trying to do their Everything Show. That's why I'm not going to drop the number. I may have a title now for a different podcast, but I'm not dropping my number for the Everything Show. This is the 2,286th episode of the Everything Show. We're first. So, on that note, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to have, what time is it? I'm probably going to have something to eat. Probably going to be watching a little TV. The main aspect of my gaming is going to start in the afternoon. And I'm probably going to be doing heavy gaming after 1 o'clock my time. So if you think I'm going to get a lot of platinums, probably it's going to happen. All right. Thank you guys. Now you can still reach out to me anytime on Twitter, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, as long as I have it on my phone. I did mess up my phone where I have it put together with tape, unfortunately. I went to my phone service pondering a brand new phone, which would mean that I wouldn't have to delete the apps anymore, like Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, to put videos up. So I'm half and half leaning towards a new phone, but not fully committed yet to getting a new phone. Half and half. If I do get a new phone, I will have the memory to go crazy and make longer videos. So in case you want to know why my videos are short, it's because I don't have enough memory. Because I hate doing a video and get cut off. That sucks. And that means I have to edit it because you got me mid-sentence and then I have to cut it short. So that's why the videos are shorter. I would like longer videos, but I can't. So that may change this month. We shall see. All right. Please like. Please subscribe. Please tell everyone about the Everything Show and the Real Whovians cast. And that I'm doing a third major podcast that I am not going to name yet, but it's about gaming. So let everybody know that it's happening. All right. Take care. Bye for now.